subcommittee that we changed the cluster of groups. And we would go from being with Hurst and Bedford and Hollywood. Pardon? No, we would not be the first. But they're suggesting that we be placed with what I would consider the 114 Florida city. The list of cities is on there, as you can see. The mayor and I visited about this extensively. She visited with Mayor Bridget. So we would get y'all's input before we did anything further. There's a deadline of Friday to provide a response. Can't tell you that we can change it. But before we made any strong comments, we wanted your input. I guess I might give you both sides. If you want to give your side, then I prefer your side is best.
Well, we have worked so well together with all of our reciprocal agreements with First Euless and Bedford that is separating us from that group. And all along the 183 corridor, it's Northwestern Hills, is First Euless and Bedford. We have worked together and we still work together on so many projects that they're deleting us. Now, about a month ago, several weeks ago, Commissioner Vickers called and said, these were some of the goals that they were planning. Number one, that the person that would represent the cities would serve for 2 years and then would rotate each time. So that's what the original bylaws said. They have elected for a 2-year term. When that term is up, someone else can be elected. Since Carl was first of all, and I appointed Carl to be on the committee, he loved being on it, and I would call each one of the mayors of the cities that we worked with and said, do you have anyone you would like to nominate for this position? They all said, well, doesn't Carl want it anymore? And I said, he likes it, he would like to say, well, let's keep it, let's keep it. And that's gone on all along. Then when Carl passed away, I talked to the other mayors and I said, I think it's time for the city of Euless to give it up. We've had it all these years. Bill Huffman from Hearst would like to be on. All the mayors said, that's great. Every 2 years it comes up again. Who do you want? We want, which I think would be a great idea, just keep Bill. Well, now then there's someone from Colorado that they like it next, and I'm sure Bill will be willing to remember it. So that takes care of the 2-year term. But then, when Commissioner Vickers called me about putting us with, they were realigning the groups together, and he had us with Flowerland and Briscoe, and I said, well, never. You can't put us over there. They're not even in Tarrant County here. He said, I know, but I'm just supposed to answer you. And I said, well, we want to answer you the way I want to answer you. So anyhow, he said, fine. I talked with Commissioner Vickers this morning. And I said, we've gotten this letter. He said, did they even call you ahead of time to hear it? I said, no. He said, all you did was just get this letter. And I said, that's all we did was get this letter. And we have a good answer just in Friday. I don't like it. Why did they put us up with that group? He said, I did not like it either. When I saw it there, I said, no, that will never fly. I don't like what you think here. But they sent it out anyhow, and he said, we need to talk with Dan Kessler over at RTC. But we have waited tonight to talk to you all about it. I don't think it's good for us to be with the 114.
We're not contiguous with the 114.
Not at all.
Anywhere. We don't touch it.
Look at what we're doing in transportation on 183. Yeah. It's all of our cities down here.
And the other thing that troubles me is they're lumping us in with 9 other cities. So we would only have a representative once every 10 years, basically. Right. And not to mention the fact that most of these cities are at least half, if not all, in Denton County.
Right. All those things are well said, and that's exactly the way I felt about it too. But we just felt like, what is your position on this? Right. Do I call Dan Kessler and say, guess what, I got a newspaper?
What is Bedford thing? Do you know
well,
what
they're talking about it tonight too. But they are the same way. They were puzzled about why we were taking them away and putting them away.
The 183 court.
But it's with the proportionate voting system, and the mayors in our little area here have agreed to this gentleman's agreement, gentlemen, ladies. But you could look at it from the standpoint that we in Bedford have a combined population of about 100,000. Those other smaller cities up there are much, much smaller. So we could have a larger share of that, where we could have a representative on the region. There is 121. We always, and I call it the 114 course. Remember, 121, we share that with Bedford, we share it with Greater. And so there, I think it could work either way. You know, I don't want you to think I'm going in opposition. I happen to agree with the mayor. I just want to point out that there could be some differing sides of that. And it, so, I guess, how loud is barking? I think we probably should bark.
I think we should bark.
I don't know if we can impact it. If we can impact it, and we get placed with these people, I don't think this will work.
Yeah, but we should fight it if we possibly
Yeah,
can.
I think it would be an effective
But
change.
the thing is, where it is currently, if Hearst or Bedford make a decision or make a vote, it's going to be to better them, it'll also better us.
Right.
Whereas if money is going up to Flower Mound,
Louisville.
it really has no impact and no help to us at all.
But did you see what the second group that they put together? That they put us with they didn't eliminate Flower Mound, and they did eliminate Crystal, but
You
they
still
put us up there
get
with
Children's Club,
Brookfield,
Westlake,
Westlake,
Roanoke.
all those
It's a
are
real big place.
Yeah.
But they have already got most of their roads done.
All the way
That's
114.
another thing, all the way to 114 to
That-
I-35.
That's a point for consideration in and of itself. Which road got built first? They have a very powerful voice up there. Please don't take me as trying to push you in that direction. I agree totally with what y'all are saying. I don't think it's the end of the world if we line up with it. Because it is a very powerful group.
So wait, according to, the map is not correct, so Flower Mound and Louisville are out.
Yeah.
So if you look at, it's much more reasonable if you look at the remaining cities, just the remaining cities, much more reasonable.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
121, 114 course.
Yeah.
And we would be, I mean, Grapevine obviously is, what's their population, 40?
46
Should not be.
I got enough to all the cities.
So, it's primarily going to be, well, what is South Lake?
South Lake
About
is
30?
26.
26.
Well, I think if you look at, you're right, Gary, the condition of roads,
Yeah.
if you look at who Hearst was lumped in with, they all have much older roads and need much more work.
I 100% agree with the direction you're going. I didn't want to touch the other side of that. Beverly Griffith and I had this discussion this afternoon, and that is, and I think she agrees also that we are, that we don't live like this came about. We should raise some objections, but I don't think it's worth.
Maybe let's just yip instead of barking aloud.
You bark, it's just like, I don't know if you got to chew in much way.
Facilitate the change, we facilitate the change.
Dan Kessler is the one that's facilitating, he's the one that's in charge of it. Dan Kessler is right under Mike Gomar's in our TC.
Well, what is his objective? Is he trying to
I don't know. That's the whole thing. Don't know.
equalize the
I asked that.
population groupings or something like
I
that?
asked the commissioner about that this morning, and he said he did not know. He said, I've worked on that committee, I've done everything I was asked to do, I disagree with it. Please don't support it. But that's what you do, why they put us this way. That's what Dan wants.
Well, basically, we're just dropping Hearst and we're picking up Westlake, Trophy Club, and Roanoke. Yeah, so if you look at it that way, no, I don't care.
But there's also a
We also
mental,
picked up Keller.
There's a lot to
there's
politics.
a
So we
mental
already had Grapevine.
stepchild.
We're just picking up Keller.
Keller and Trophy Club and Wesley and Royal.
Yeah. But
We have the four
all those
people.
combined are one small neighborhood. You know, count for the other three.
Population.
Mayor, is it,
But no more.
my feeling is from a socio-demographic aspect, we are likely to be more of a stepchild to this group than to the other group.
I think you're right.
Is that going to make a difference?
I felt the same way about it. We worked so hard for transportation, we seem to get pushed back all the time. But this is just another push.
And why is Westlake even part of it? They don't need help. That's their average.
They have some very country kind of roads.
They do, well, for instance.
They can pay them in gold if they want to.
They're gonna keep them that way too. Right.
But if we wanted anything done, I just think that most of the work we have done affects the three cities of Euless and Bedford. And we work together in so many other ways to the good of all of our citizens.
Well, Mayor Duke, excuse me, but are the funds that are available distributed to each of these districts?
Not necessarily. It depends on the members of the RTC committee that are working there. The ones that are there and the most vocal, for instance, 161 is going to have the landfill now because of the leadership.
But it's not like you might think of a single member district council or a congressional district where there's earmarks. They're group decisions, regional decisions, but it's a growing power that they have. The whole policy. Whole policy is set by for this road right here. Not in a critical way, it's factual. That is how much power they have. So it takes a lot of time. Carl, I think that's pretty much all they need. Carl's been a great deal of time. I think that's pretty much what we need. Chief Mayor to represent the state where we are. That's what we get. Okay, Mr. Wayne, could you tell us quickly about the ordinance penalty provision?
Yeah. This is an issue that came up when I was working with Chris on a potential ordinance that's going to come before you. And Chris asked me in particular to look at the penalty provisions of the ordinance, and I did. And, there were several different penalty provisions in the ordinance. And what we typically do when we adopt the ordinances, we just refer to the general penalty section in our city code, which is section 1-12 of the city code. But as I started looking at the ordinance, I realized that our general penalty provisions in the code don't provide anything about a culpable mental state. And the general rule, the Texas Penal Code says in order to prove a violation of any penalty, you have to prove a culpable mental state. There's 4 different culpable mental states, which are intentional, knowingly, recklessly, or with criminal negligence. And so when I saw that we didn't have that as a general rule, I recommended that we amend the ordinance to provide what the culpable mental states would be for violation of city ordinances. And the penal code specifically allows a city to dispense with the culpable mental state, so we don't have to prove any of those elements, which certainly makes it a lot easier to be able to prosecute if there's a violation of our ordinance. Very similar to if you're driving down the road and you get stopped for speeding, you can't say, well, I didn't know what the speed limit is. You're responsible to know what the speed limit is, and you're liable if you were speeding and prove it without showing that you intentionally violated the law or knowingly violated the law, etc. So what the penal code specifically provides is that for most ordinances that the city has, we can require that there be no culpable mental state in order to find a violation of city ordinance. And that's what we would recommend that you do. Most cities do that. That would apply to any ordinance that you have that entails a fine not to exceed $500. The penal code also says that if you have ordinances that have fines higher than $500, which would apply to any violations of zoning ordinance, fire safety, or public health and sanitation, including the dumping of refuse, where by state law you go for $2,000 for those violations, then there has to be a culpable mental state of either knowing, intentional, or reckless. So that will automatically apply in those situations. But because of this gap in the general penalty provision of your city code, I recommend, Chris, that you amend your city code book to provide what the penal code authorizes and get that cleared up. So in the future, any particular ordinance that's violated would fall under the same penalty provisions. We wouldn't have separate penalty provisions for each separate ordinance that way. So my recommendation is that this come to you in the future for your consideration, but we wanted to talk to you about it and see if you had any questions about it before it was brought before you for approval.
Seems pretty straightforward.
It is straightforward.
Much easier for each one of the violations to be.
Great. Any questions?
In fact, it seems very unlawyer-like because it was understandable.
I don't know how to take that.
You weren't living up to your bar card.
Apologies, it will never happen.
We've had reports go way over time now, so we're running out of time, and I actually wanted to do this time in closed session, it hasn't worked out. What I'd like to do, if it's all right with y'all, the financial report, the quarterly financial report is on the council agenda. You will hear it in there. Secondly, we've got our work session scheduled soon, and you'll get more out there. So if it's all right, we'll skip that and do the agenda in lightning speed. Obviously, will take as long as we need to. Most of it, rather than continue to go through quickly, employees month of February. Item number 2 is you'll hear the comprehensive annual financial report again in abbreviated fashion. Item number 3 is the financial report that you will hear in a non-abbreviated fashion. Item number 4 is acknowledgement of the investment, annual investment report. Again, it's not approval, it's just acknowledgement. Fiscal year. Item number 5 is the acknowledgement of the capper. Item number 6 is approving the investment for funds for the city. Is there anything in particular you want to point out in that?
This is just purely housekeeping stuff, little grammatical changes, and that's it.
All right. Just tell us we can, I guess. Item number 7 is authorizing us to file a project application with Tyler for a solid waste grant. That's anything needs to be said about that, other
No,
than
this is just one of the checklists they have on their grant application.
have to have your authorization to do it, and we're committing to whatever matching funds, these are very small ones. Normally that's done with any kind of, so we're normally out of cash outlay. Item number 8 is authorizing us to execute an engineering design contract for the water line along LP Mobile. That is the capital project for the year that is approved.
Now, where is that?
Off the south, I mean, off of the west pipeline. West side. That's the, and that's good. Minutes. 10 is a plan development on South Pipeline at Main Street. Mike, is there?
Northeast corner, former state land, 25 lot subdivision, 6,000 square foot average lot size. They adopted basically the same architectural design standards as y'all had previously approved from Bloomfield Homes. The ingress egress is off of South Pipeline Road, really takes advantage of the pipeline easement that's on the north side. They can get their site visibility triangles and kind of doll up the entryway by putting landscaping and stuff on top of that pipeline instead of a lot.
The size, there's a slight variation on the size.
Yes, the average size will be 2,300 square feet, but they are permitted to construct 1,800 square foot homes because they would like to offer a single story product. So for every single story, they're going to have to obviously sell a larger home so that at the end of the day, the net average will, gross average will end up being the 2,300 square feet.
I've been working on my leg, my pants leg over here. Y'all may notice I've been a little distracted. You know it's not your day when you drop a piece of chicken, but you're fortunate enough to catch it between your knees so that it doesn't reach the floor, only to realize that there was gravy on it. So, I'm distracted. It's serious. Item number 11 is...
You dress them up, you can't take them anywhere nice.
Item number 11 is Resolution 1423, calling the election for the mayor, council members, place 2 and 4, and authorizing the contract with Kent County. Item 12 is concerning vacancy in place 3, and calling a special election, which Ms. Kim, that is the different sign-up period with the same election day, right?
I do want to point out also that this does include the elimination of the performance
And then the most important item of the night is item number 13. And if we have time, you might consider item 14, but not.
We were going to table 13.